Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Molly. I'm the founder, owner, mostly only operator for Lacquer22, a small nail polish company. But today we're going to talk some new makeup releases and if I think they're worth the hype or not. Let's see. Okay, so as we know, I am crossing off all of my makeup as I use it throughout the year just so I can get at least one use out of everything that I have. So I'm like trying to be mindful, or more mindful I guess, of how I'm spending my money, just because, like, yes, makeup is very fun, but we don't need to spend on that all the time. So even though I'm trying to save some money, I am still watching all of the releases. So I want to give some of my opinions, I guess, on what is entering the market. Some of these are a little bit older, so just bear with me. I'm kind of like catching up. I'm thinking I'm going to try to do this every month or month and a half maybe. Certainly not every week, but let's get started. Okay, so the first thing is from Bella Beauté Bar, and I have two of their palettes, and I do enjoy the quality. The mattes are really, really pigmented. The shimmers though are like quite wet and slippy, but they are very like duochrome and shifty if that's your jam. They're doing another collab palette with Deandra Nicole, and this one is called Pinky Promise, and it is all pink. This is their second collab together. They did the one, I think it was called Ultraviolet, where it was all purple. I think this is cute. I am not a 15 pan monochromatic palette fan. I think that's a little bit too big for what it is. I think we could have edited down some of the shades, and at max made it 12. We probably still could have gone 9. That being said, I do like that there's some different undertones in here, and you have some that lean more purple, lean more red, and some lights and some darks in there. The difference in shimmer depths also seem really nice. This just isn't really something for me, but I do think it's really cute. If you really, really love pink, go for it. I don't think you would be disappointed by the Bella Beauté formula, but just make sure that it's something that you would actually get a decent amount of use out of. Okay, the next thing that we have is from ColourPop, and this is their new Cloud Whip Blurring Liquid Lipstick. I'm very, very interested in this. So interested that I bought one at Ulta this past weekend. So it says, Cloud-like comfort, blurred lips of your dreams are finally here. The plush ingredients meet versatile color for a new lippy that will keep your head in the clouds. Dot, blend, and blur. That's not how I plan on using it. I do plan on using it on camera for the first time when one of these other things gets to me. I'm very intrigued by this. I really, really miss the Rare Beauty lip souffles. I think those were a beautiful formula, and so I'm just kind of hoping that this is similar. And the Rare Beauty ones were very like silicone-y, blurry, like, so I don't know. I have high hopes. We'll see what it actually becomes. But my fingers are definitely crossed that I like it, because I'm so sad that they got rid of the lip souffles. So hopefully this is a good replacement, and if it is, it's so much cheaper. So fingers crossed. We'll see. TBD. This next one is from Blend Bunny, and this is from December, so it's a little bit of an older one, but this is the Haunt Me palette, and this is hauntingly beautiful shades for the goth at heart. So it's a gothic themed palette. They also had some lip items launch with it. Lip items were not my color story, so I definitely passed on that, and I decided to pass on the palette as well, just because it's just not me. I'm not gonna wear this very much. It's designed in quads instead of the rows, which is fine, but 5 of the 6 quads are neutral, and then one of them is like reddish. That just isn't my makeup style, which is totally fine. But I like the theme, and I love Blend Bunny quality, so if this is your color story, go for it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's just not for me. I want to like it more, but I just don't. Those aren't really my colors, I guess. Next is something from Nomad, and unfortunately I'm passing on this as well. The theme is Paris. I'm not going to try to say the full name because I will say it wrong. I really enjoy the color story of this, but it makes me think a little bit too much of the Verona palette that they did a few years ago now. I think it's really pretty. I love that like mustardy greenish color in the top corner. It's called Destiny. I think that's beautiful, but the whole palette doesn't make sense for me to buy when I'm like really only fawning after that one shade. I don't love their 18 pan palettes very much. I feel like every time they release an 18 pan, I'm like, no. There's either too much of something similar, or it just becomes too big of a color story that just doesn't really work with my brain, I guess. I miss their 15 pans. I think that they do those a lot better, but that's one man's opinion. I do like the depth in here though, so I think that's a plus. And then they have some lighter shimmers and some deeper shimmers, so a lot of tones to play with. And I think it's a fun color story. It's just not for me. It's just too similar to Verona. Like the idea is the same. Like there's a pink side and there's a blue side. It's the same. And it's just not, it's not for me, which makes me sad. I really like Nomad, but maybe later. Okay, this next one is from Gourmand Girls. I'm also passing on this. This is the Bleeding Hearts palette. And I just don't know. Usually I can get behind majority of their color stories at least. And I really like Gourmand Girls quality. Like every palette I have from them has been a win. But this just isn't my jam. There's two reds that are very similar. There's two pinks. There's a brown and a black. And I don't feel like the brown... Well, I mean, the brown's nice. Okay, brown's nice. Maybe it's the black and the green that I don't like together because they're very similar depths. I don't know. There's something about this that just isn't speaking to me. And I do really like pink and red together. I think that's a really fun combo, but this just isn't my jam. And then two of the shimmers are like silverish, it looks like, and no, that's not for me. I don't know. Again, though, you won't be disappointed. At least I don't think you would be disappointed if you got this. Gourmand Girls quality is really good usually. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, next is ColourPop again. And they finished out the... maybe they didn't finish it. I'm not a Twihard. But they released their third Twilight palette called Eclipse. And again, we are neutral with red. If you like the Blend Bunny Haunt Me palette, but you don't want to spend that money, then I guess go after this. I bought the first Twilight palette and I was disappointed quite a bit. I wish I liked it, but I just didn't. The shimmers weren't great. There was too much glitter going on, which does look like that would be the case for some of these shades too. Some of these mattes just look too close together and unnecessary. And then you have two red shimmers and a maroon matte, I guess. The neutral with red color story is just everywhere right now. And I don't really know why. If you are a super big Twilight fan, go for it. If you're not, then just don't, maybe. Okay, we have 4 things left. This next one kind of made me sad, and so I'll tell you why. This is the Senj Beauty Succulent Dew palette. I think this is a really pretty palette, and I like that this palette is 3 colors in a palette instead of just the normal 2. That Agate Temptation and Galactic Visitor are. However, and I like the light and dark, and all the shimmers seem like they're the depth that I would use. But I actually placed an order and then I immediately canceled it because I had immediate buyer's remorse, like immediate. So I'm not getting this one. I think the purples really are what was calling my name, but I have purples in other palettes that I can get a similar look out of. I think it's a really pretty palette. There's just something about it that I don't need. What that is, can't really tell you. Again, I don't know why I felt such buyer's remorse immediately. I do like their quality from the first two palettes that I have. So if you're interested, go for it. Again, I think you can do some really fun looks here with playing around with the different colors, doing two-tone eyes and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I passed. Okay, next, this is what I actually bought. So once this comes in, I will do a video with it and trying the Cloud Whip from ColourPop that we talked about earlier. This is Blend Bunny and Diabla. I'm sorry, the sun is leaving. Diabla is a tattoo artist, love that. And I think this is a really fun palette and much more my style than the Haunt Me is. This is also set up in quads, and then you have a double pan black, double pan white at the top of it. I really like that there's one neutral quad of the 6, and I really like doing a neutral outer corner with a pastel-y type inner corner, so I think that's going to be perfect. And then the gray quad, I love when you can mute tones with the gray, so I think that's going to be really nice. The Sugar and Grunge palette also has a gray row, and you can do the same thing with that. Love it so much. Highly encourage you to mix shades and not just like take them as is or layer here and there. Like, mix them on your brush and then put them on your eye and you'll get a fun result. So this is really fun, and I also really like the pink, purple, blue, like it just feels very berry to me. So I really like that. And then the Beauty Below palette that they did, the first one that they did in quads, I felt like there wasn't enough variation in each quad for them to all fully make sense. I did buy it. I do like it. But I really like that this has a light and dark, at least from the pictures. And then each quad by itself is very different from each other. So I really like that. I'm looking forward to getting this in the mail. TBD on when that is, because they ended up doing a pre-order situation. So once it's here, I'll film with it. But yeah, it looks really pretty. And I love Blend Bunny, so I didn't say no. Okay, this next one is from DD Signature again. Not again. DD Signature. And this is their Sweethearts and Secret palettes. Nope, Sweethearts and Secrets palette. And this is a Valentine's release. It launched last week by the time I'm filming this. And I think this is a really fun color story that they've put together that like isn't something you would typically think of. I think it's a really fun and different color story is what I'm trying to say. I don't think I'll be picking this one up because for me it doesn't make too much sense, but I do like looking at it. I just think using it I would get kind of caught up in the color story, if that makes sense. I really love that there's an orange. I really love that there's like some brights and some darks, and that lavender seems a little bit muted when you go to the swatches. There's some neutrals thrown in there. I feel like a lot of people would get a lot of use out of this, and I feel like it checks at least most boxes for a lot of people. The duochromes look really pretty. I really like DD Signature, so I'm gonna keep saying the same thing. I don't think you would be disappointed with the quality. So if the color story speaks to you, go for it. They have, the palettes that I've tried from them have been phenomenal. So, you know, if you're interested, go for it. I just don't think this color story is for me. Okay, and then we only have one more. So this is the Cosmic Beauty Angelic palette. I am tempted. Okay, I'm very tempted. I love the size of Gothic that they came out with. It's also a 12 pan. I think this is a much more intriguing size than their usual ones. I think their usual ones are 20 palettes maybe, or 20 pans maybe. I don't know. I used one, oh, you know what? Yeah, 20. I used this today, the Delicious Delights. I like their 12 pan size more just because I prefer a smaller palette, but that's personal preference. I am extremely tempted with this. I think this is really, really beautiful. You have the top rows of lighter shades and then shimmers to match. And then the bottom row is the darker shades. And there's just something about this that I think is so, so pretty. I don't know, how many times can I say I'm tempted? How many times? The one thing I will say is that they are a UK brand, so shipping is usually quite expensive, so I'm not sure it would be worth it for me. But I think it's really, really pretty, and I really hope that they keep doing 12 pan palettes because I think this is only their second one, and I would be a lot more a lot more on top of them if they did more 12 pans because again, I just prefer smaller palettes. That being said, I don't think you would be disappointed in the quality because they are really easy to work with and really pretty. Their shimmers are a little bit thinner than I like and not always super impactful, but it kind of depends on the shimmer itself. So that's not a blanket statement for all of them. But their mattes are really, really nice. I care more about mattes than the shimmers. But that's all for now. So we'll start there for the next video of this. Let me know if you picked up any of these and what your thoughts are so far, because I'm very excited to get into the ColourPop lipstick. I haven't bought a new lipstick in a hot minute, so we'll see. I don't know, I'm very excited, and once Diablo gets here, you know I'll be filming with it, so keep a lookout for that. I'll see you next time. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye.